Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers! The term survival horror was first used to describe 1996's Resident Evil for the Sony PlayStation. However, according to Mr. Wikipedia, some people credit earlier, lesser-known titles as actually influencing and creating the genre.
Don't be insane. Don't open that door.
Some of these games even got their own movies.
Don't open that door.
Oh, don't worry, the Resident Evil films are also pretty terrible. However, there is one game out there that no one seems to recognize as one of the earliest examples of the survival horror genre. It's a game so dark and sinister. A game that stalked schoolchildren throughout the 1980s in their own classrooms. Its portrayal of fleeting life in the wake of relentless death and tragedy was unparalleled in its day. And participation was compulsory. That game? 1985's The Oregon Trail for the Apple II. Now today, one can experience the Oregon Trail at their leisure, but one has to remember school kids only had the length of a single class period to travel thousands of miles while death was stalking them at every turn. So to honor this, I will give myself a time limit of 30 minutes to start and complete the game. Also, this is what the music in the game sounds like. So instead, I'll be using selections from Wipeout Audio and the Free Music Archive. Links in the description. At the start of the game, you choose which character class you want to be. Best bet is to be a banker because he starts off with 4 times the money of some farmer gets. You then enter the names of the people who will be joining you in this nightmare. I picked the only 4 beings that I know. Stupid Newbert.
Hey, I'm in the game.
Shut up. Greg. Newbert's dead wife Bighead. And Old Man Clifford.
Hey, why is Bighead?
Shut up. Then you pick up supplies. It's best to max out on oxen, food, and pick up plenty of clothes and spare parts. Now I also buy bullets, but hunting eats a lot of time in this game, but more on that later. We then set out across the plains. But by the 4th day, Bighead breaks her leg, and then 5 days later, Bighead breaks her arm. What the hell, Newbert's wife? It hasn't even been 2 weeks yet.
Hey!
Newbert, look, we're gonna stop it if you don't shut up.
Alright.
Then 2 days later, Newbert has a fever.
Hey!
About a week later, a thief steals a bunch of our food in the middle of the night, but I suspect it was Newbert all along.
I've never stolen anything in my life.
Newbert, do I have to warn you again?
I ain't stealing food.
Then we find a headstone. That's right, people, when characters die in this game, the game saves it and puts headstones all along the trail for other players to be reminded that the never-ceasing specter of death is always on your tail. A week after that, Newbert is playing with matches and fire destroys 4 sets of clothing. All but 8 of our bullets, 2 wagon wheels, all of our axles, and over 1,500 pounds of food. Damn it, Newbert!
Hey, I didn't take your food. It's a game.
Greg, we'll make him stop. I'm doing a review. Yeah, you better stop, Newbert. Where were we? Oh yes, now we're left with barely 40 pounds of food. And then Clifford gets dysentery. I don't even know what dysentery is. A few days later, some Indians help us find food. And I can't help but wonder, what are a bunch of Indian people doing in the Midwest in the middle of the 19th century? And then I realized they mean Native Americans, but that's how old this game is. We blow an axle, and since Newbert burned all our spare axles in the fire, we're now stranded on the trail for days until we can find someone to trade for one. And since we're desperately low on food, I go hunting and bag some buffalo. But even though I murdered nearly a ton of buffalo, we can only carry back 100 pounds of it. What a waste. The problem with hunting in this game is that it's clunky, slow, and time-consuming. And also, when you're out of bullets, it doesn't tell you. So you walk around like an idiot wasting days if you forgot that Newbert was a pyromaniac and destroyed all your ammo. So now that we're out of bullets, out of food, and no one is willing to trade us food, all we can do is try to get to the nearest fort in hopes of buying some food. Bighead then gets exhaustion. But we have no food, so we can't stop. She dies about a week later.
Alright.
Once again, Newbert's actions lead to the death of his wife.
Hey!
I refuse to rest, and we push on until we're all exhausted and in poor health. And I don't care about Newbert's health anymore, just so you know, people. We finally make it to a fort where we can buy food and supplies and rest for a few weeks. However, since we are constrained by time and limited by funds, we have to keep food rations set to meager, or we'll completely run out and die. We're barely back on the trail for 4 days when Newbert breaks his arm. See what I have to put up with?
It's not real. I don't even have an arm. I have wings.
Chicken wings, people. Keeping an eye on the clock, I push hard into July, but unfortunately Newbert doesn't die. We reach a fork in the trail, and I have to decide if I want to cross the Green River or go to the fort. Check the map. It's no help at all. Seriously, what am I supposed to do with this? We head for the river. We then stop to rest before crossing. As soon as we start back up, an ox dies. Death just wants to remind us who's still in charge. Then in late August, Greg catches typhoid, so we finally stop and rest. To show that he's totally hell-bent on slowing us down, Newbert breaks his leg a few weeks later. Meanwhile, in the real world, we hit the 25-minute mark, and now there's only 5 minutes left before the end of the period. Of course, Newbert then breaks his arm again. Classic Newbert attention-seeking ploy. People, you see how Newbert does everything he can to annoy me?
What do I do to annoy you?
You're talking! I'm not making it up. Just a quick review of Newbert's actions on the Oregon Trail. Newbert has a fever. Newbert has exhaustion. Newbert breaks his arm. Newbert breaks his leg. Newbert breaks his arm again. Newbert blew up our wagon with fire. Newbert got his wife killed. People, do you not see the horror here? The game somehow knows that I want Newbert dead, and keeps teasing me with it.
Shut up.
That's how evil this game is. Anyway, less than 5 minutes of class, so we gotta pick up the pace. We reach Fort Boise and we see this. Wait. Why is that girl grabbing her mom's... Oh, that's a baby's head. Don't tell me you can't see that now either.
Say what?
Shut up. We finally reached the Dales. We can't afford the toll road, so we're forced to float our wagon down the perilous Columbia River. It starts off okay, but now class is about to end. You know what? Screw it. I'll be late for my next class. We gotta get to Oregon. And I'll tell Mrs. Assbutt she better not touch my computer either. But then we wreck and Greg drowns. Of course, Newbert is fine. Newbert is always fine. Newbert is like a cancer that's metastasized into my life.
Hey.
We finally reach our destination. Me, Newbert, and Clifford are the only ones who have survived the trail. We've arrived, but are in poor health, with a mere $3 in our pockets, a few surviving oxen, and the clothes on our— Oh! Look, I made high score! It's not the top score, but I let the true villain of our journey know how I feel. I hope the world is paying attention.
That's not nice.
I'll give you nice.
Arr!
Okay, so here's something else. This game is prescient in a number of ways. Take this example. Late in the game, you might run into Aunt Rebecca, who tells you, at every fort along the trail, prices have been higher than at the previous fort. This is outrageous. They're taking advantage of us. Gee, I'm sure that over 170 years later, humans have definitely improved. Especially during the desperate times of, say, a global pandemic?